Hello, everybody. If there's anybody here, I say that every time because I never know. Hope everybody's doing well and having a good weekend. Figured I would do a quick. I always say quick. I know. I figured I would just do a live stream and see what happens. Talk to you guys about the 2 live streams that I did, covering not all, but a lot of the predictive programming in American Horror Story and the connections to the Watts case with the show. Hey, Crystal. Good to see you. Hey, Swamp Lover. What do you mean up against the big guns? What are you talking about? Hey, Mark. It's almost golf time. Hey, Sean. Good to see you. Halo. Hey, TP. And if you guys are wondering what the quack noise is, it's an alert on DLive, because I know that there were a few of you that were like, where's that duck sound coming from? Why is there a duck noise? So just wanted to let you know that. Oh, yeah, Swamp Lover. I gotcha. But I guess it's not really going up against him because well, I don't know. Like, there's some people that follow me that go into Brian's streams, but I think the majority of people on the streams probably don't even know who I am, so. Oh, 11 days. Oh, wow. Cool. Are you staying at the same place and golfing at the same course? Or are you gonna, or do you do, I don't remember if you said you golf at a different course each year or not. Oh, sarcasm. Sorry, Swamp Lover. It's hard to tell sometimes with you. So hopefully some more people will be here today. I mean, I do these live streams at all different hours of the day. So hopefully we'll see, some same but also different faces in here. Or names, not faces. Well, sometimes faces. They have a profile pic. 98.99% of the time it's sarcasm. I don't know if that's completely accurate as far as the numbers go, but it's probably pretty close. Your friend has a house on a course, but you play a different one each day. But you play them all in Maricopa? You should give up like one day of golf on a less expensive course and use that money towards a Scottsdale course. They're really nice, but they're really expensive. Not as much in the summertime, but the wintertime, they're really expensive. Hey, Stephanie. It's nice to see you around again. There was a time where I didn't see you for a while, so it's good to see you again. Hi, Megan. Yes, you are right. This case is a bunch of 100%. Yeah. I mean, I'm not saying I'm right. I'm just saying, yeah, it's 100%. It not true or factual what we've been told whatsoever. So and it goes way beyond a cover up. Actually, there's just no cover up. It's just flat out BS, like you said. I'm gonna just start saying that instead of spelling out the word. Hey, Collins. And I'm actually really surprised. I mean, I'm glad that you can see it for what it really is, Stephanie. But I remember you from I don't know how long ago. In this case, from being in Mia's streams and stuff, and from what I remember from your original theory or your thoughts on the case, it would be a complete 180. So that's great. Because usually that doesn't happen. Yeah, I don't think it is either, Stephanie. Yeah, I said that. What did I say? I mentioned that in. I mean, not like I'm the only one that has realized that or anything, but I'm just trying to remember what video I put it in. Oh, I know which one it was. It's my inconsistencies part 2. I put that in there as far as it not being the same night that Shanann came home, and I came to that conclusion. I know that there's a different channel creator and probably some other ones that have come to that conclusion, but as well as you guys. But I came to that conclusion because, one, why wasn't that footage of Shanann coming home, the doorbell footage? Hey Google, good to see you. How are you? Hopefully I didn't make anybody's phones go off again. That was so funny. Which is weird because I thought that it's supposed to only do it, like I thought it's supposed to be able to recognize your voice because you do that whole like step process thing where you say like, hey Google a number of times or something to make sure that that doesn't happen when somebody else says the word Google, but apparently that doesn't work. No, so why wasn't that doorbell footage, the Vivint doorbell footage of Shanann coming home, why was that not released with the Discovery, the original Discovery, in November when it was released? Why wasn't that with it? Hey, High Hopes. And not only that, but they didn't release it until, one, people started questioning if that footage even existed, the doorbell footage, and two, when people started questioning Shanann's blood alcohol content level. And then all of a sudden, here comes HLN, right, with the footage and releases it. Or Weld County gave it to HLN. I think that's what happened. I don't even think Weld County released it to the public, if I'm not mistaken, from what I remember. So again, more inconsistencies. And not only that, but then you also have those photos of Kessinger and Chris. Yeah, those photos of Chris and Kessinger at the sand dunes. The photos of her like wearing that T-shirt, right, where it says "I still play with blocks" of Chris's. What other ones were in there? Oh, I don't know. All of the other selfies that Kessinger took, right? Why weren't those released with the discovery? Hey, Shan, you're muted. Yeah, so why weren't those photos released with the discovery? And not only that, but they also released, or not released, I guess, apparently, or allegedly, a certain channel creator, one of the bigger ones that we all know of, right? We're all familiar with. Quora requested them, or, I mean, that's, like I said, allegedly. So they sent a Quora request, and Weld County released those, or Frederick released those pictures to that specific channel creator. But nobody else could get them, right? Nobody else. I'm sure there's many people that requested documents other than what we got from Weld County and in the discovery. So it's just interesting that there's these certain channel creators that just happen to always get the breaking news or the information that nobody else, or the data that nobody else can get, right? Or specific guests on their show that, for whatever reason, don't want to go and talk to mainstream media, like the bigger news outlets or Dateline, but they decide to go on true crime channels on social media. I don't know. I just find that very strange. It's just my opinion. But again, why weren't those photos of the not that I want to see the photos of her selfie photos or anything like that, but the point is, why weren't they released with the discovery in the first place? And then when the channel creator that did get those photos, you guys remember how they were like crisp, clean, and like just pretty much perfect quality, and then the ones we got and the ones that were in the discovery were like grainy and just absolutely terrible. So who or how did those pictures that were released to us originally, how did those get so downgraded as far as quality goes of those images? I mean, because they don't just like, what, did Weld County have some really clear, great quality pictures, and then they just happen to have some bad quality ones, and they just accidentally gave us the bad quality ones? I don't think so. I think it was done on purpose. Or something's funky. But we know that with this case, so. Hey, Callie. Glad you made it. Trying to think if there's something else that they didn't release with the discovery. sure there is, but yeah, so that's another one of those red flags, you know, because they're supposed to be, in my opinion, as far as what I know, they, you know, somebody in chat, maybe you guys can tell me what is the, and I asked this in my, not my last live, but a couple lives ago, why do you think they released so much information and so much information that we didn't have to pull teeth for, you know, and either FOIA request or court request? Like, it's almost impossible. Like, they make it so difficult and so frustrating for people, even someone who's trying to get their own documents about their case, like their own case, right? So not like somebody, not like one of us going and trying to get evidence or documents from you know, something that we have nothing to do with, but just a regular person trying to get their own case files. They make it like nearly impossible. So they'll either, you know, make up some excuse as to why, you know, because they'll just pull anything out of their ass and be like, oh, it's not in the public's interest or whatever, or we don't have to, or we're not obliged to say why we, or whatever, why we don't have to release it. I don't know. They'll come up with whatever excuse they can, right, to not release documents to the public, even though they say that they're an open record state. They make it seem like that, and they say that, but it's really not, because again, the process of getting those documents is so it's just annoying, right? So they just hope maybe people will just get frustrated and give up, which I'm sure a lot of people do. I've never tried it, only because I know what's going on with this case. So I know that requesting any documents or anything like that is going to be just a waste of time, because they're not going to release it. They're not going to release her Kessinger's phone data. They're not going to release any other evidence in this case. I don't care how many FOIA requests you file, how many CORA requests, how much of a fuss you make. They're not going to release it because, one, I don't think there is any more data to release, and two, they're just not going to. They don't have to. Oh, the chat's too small for you, GTP? I'm sorry. I could try to make it bigger. I was just trying to, give you guys something to look at on the screen. So, since I'm not playing a video or anything. Oh, and while I'm thinking about it, just so you guys know, for any of you that did go over to DLive after I told you guys that there would be an Ole Damengard video up, the replay, for like 3 days and it wasn't there. I figured out why my replays weren't posting. I fixed it. I turned that option back on. I don't know how it got turned off. But I think that the Ole, let me check. So I think it is still up, but it's only going to be up for like another day. There's 2 interviews with 2 different hosts that I posted of Ole, and then I also just did or streamed a video of ODD TV, and he talks about order out of chaos. He talks about the Hegelian dialectic and the predictive programming and why they do these events, what they gain from it. It's not super long. It's like 40 minutes long, but it's I want you guys to go over there, and I encourage you guys to go to DLive and watch those videos, or even if you can't make the stream, watch the replays, because I want you guys to see that I'm not the only one that is talking about this kind of stuff. Like, there's so many people, there's so many truth channels out there that are talking about the same things, just not in true crime. Oh, I know I'm muted. Sorry. I just wanted to try and fix that for anybody that, couldn't see the screen. I don't know if it helped, but I made it bigger. And then now the red flags are all tiny and the chat's like really big. But let me know if that helped for anybody that couldn't see the chat. And I know that the quality of the stream is not great. I don't know, when that's going to happen until, I get a new computer or something, or fix my streaming issues. So we'll have to view my streams in the same quality that they release the pictures in this case. So you guys are used to it, right? Okay, so I don't have anything planned again, of course. Well, not again. Last time I did with all the connections. I know that the majority of you already knew about those connections, but if there's anybody who has just recently seen my last 2 live streams where I went over the connections, what did you guys think? And has your opinion changed since watching my American Horror Story videos from, a few months ago or a year ago? I'd be interested to hear you guys on that. Oh, I received 100 messages today with Restream chat. Oh, thanks, Restream. Hey, Monsters Inc. Well, they really are steering any suspicion away from NK and pinning it on NA. It's so disturbing. And see, okay, so that's the thing is, it kind of sucks because even though I have been a lot more transparent as far as my theory goes, even with worrying about being censored. I mean, compared to over a year ago when I was super worried about offending anybody that has been affected by this case or hurting anybody. I'm compared to then, I'm much more transparent and upfront, but I'm still holding back because unfortunately, with my theory again, all of the main characters or main people involved in this case, unfortunately, and I don't know, 100% whether or not, they were like fully complicit and in their roles, but more than likely, right? So that's one of those issues that I run into in as well as other truth channels with these tragic events, because when you're exposing these events, you're talking about when you say that there's victims that we're told are victims were a part of this scheme, right? That's when people start to get really, really offensive. And but again, it's done like that on purpose. That's why they make these events so tragic as they can be, right? And then like I said, how more tragic can you get than a guy killing his entire family and dumping their bodies at an oil site and his girls in oil tank batteries, right? That's pretty tragic. So, but it's done like that on purpose so that people don't think logical. They just think with their emotions, and that's what you see all the time. But at least with my theory, I'm not accusing anybody of murder. I'm not even accusing anybody of being an accomplice to murder. I'm not even saying that I was just going to say something else, but I'm not even saying that they psychologically had anything to do in helping commit a murder, right? Or to help somebody else commit a murder. And hey, Jade. Wait, Swamp Lover, what about women? I'm just kidding. I just saw especially women. But whatever you're referring to, you're probably right. I don't know what you're referring to, but I'm just going to go ahead and say that. I'm just kidding. But kind of. So I'm not even accusing anybody of murder, and yet I get attacked whenever I bring up my theory. Not by everybody, of course. There are thankfully, some people that in the chat that do go, oh, like, can you explain further, Megan? Or what do you mean? But then, of course, you have a whole ton of people bombarding me with attacks. But it's just crazy. Because, I'm literally not accusing any, like, is that not bad enough? Like that, and I'm not saying that, if that's any of your theories, it's not bad, because when you have all these unanswered questions and you can't get those questions or those answers from the source itself, right? Or the only source we know to get the answers from, whether it be law enforcement or Chris, right? Well, Chris is a pathological liar, especially not if, because he is a part of this. And law enforcement, they're not going to give us answers, or they still haven't. They're never going to. So if we can't get those answers, it's human nature. Just we're going to have to find the answers on our own, right? And what do? We just try to come up with every possibility in order to find them. And if that means questioning inconsistencies, and if Nicole Atkinson's statements don't match up with what she's saying or what law enforcement's saying, then we're gonna question it. And I don't think people don't realize that just because we're told somebody is something, it doesn't make that person really that what we're told. You know what I'm saying? Like, this is so difficult. There's some other truther channels that will literally just come out and say, look, this is what this is. Wake the fuck up, right? And they don't mess around. They're blunt. But to me, that's just, one, that's not the kind of person I am. Two, I have to remember that just because I can see these things, right, and other people can see them, it doesn't mean that everybody should or will, and especially not right away. I also think that that approach works great for other channels, which is fine. Whatever it takes to wake people up. But I almost feel like when someone does that, especially to people that have, sometimes don't even know what a PSYOP is. So just to pretty much get in their face and say, wake the fuck up. This is what it is. Don't be a sheeple, right? Don't be a sheep. That's when people get defensive. They get defensive, and they're gonna feel like they're being backed into a corner, and they're gonna retreat. You know what I mean? So, and I just myself personally, I don't agree with that strategy. For me, anyways. But it would be nice. It would be nice to just say, look, you guys, I have, there's been so many times where I've just wanted to say that to you guys and just be like, shake you guys, but, gently, not, because I'm not a violent person. But, yes, real is entertaining at times. That's at times. But yeah, so there's been so many times where just in the chat, I hardly even say anything when I go into chat rooms now. Well, one, I don't even feel comfortable in any chat rooms. I'm getting blocked for simply having an opinion because someone either has something personal against me for whatever reason, or whatever I'm saying is disagreeing with that certain channel creator, or that another channel creator doesn't allow other channel creators on their channel, because apparently it's all competition, even though everyone's trying to get to the truth, apparently. But that doesn't seem like the case at all. Seems to me like it's a big old competition in the true crime community. And, and I don't think that some people understand that I literally, and I don't care, say I'm a broken record, but I can't, I would love to go to just from channel to channel to channel and just tell everybody what my theory is. But I don't think they understand that when you're literally, excuse me, when you're literally saying that, or your theory is, telling people that pretty much they've been duped and lied to, and not like it's different than just like a cover up, right? I mean, this is 100% fully lied to. Not like withholding some information from the public, or not doing their job correctly and investigating, or just being, deceitful. Like, this is 100% a lie. Hey, Scaramouche. And even on channels where they say, oh, it's okay, Megan, you can talk about your theory, you can say, you're always respectful, you can talk, but then they're still saying that there's certain things that I can't say, and to me it's like, well, if I can, it's like, I appreciate that, I really do, but then it's like I'm still being censored from talking about my theory entirely. And even if they did say, hey, I don't care, talk about whatever you want, like, nobody wants to be attacked. I don't want to be attacked, especially when I know that I'm doing the right thing. It doesn't matter what anybody else thinks I'm doing. Like, I don't want to be attacked knowing that I'm doing the right thing. So there's different I don't know what the word I'm looking for is. There's different factors, I guess, that just, there's multiple factors that prevent me from doing that. whether it be Google or YouTube, or trolls, or cognitive dissonance. I mean, because you guys realize, right? Like, so let's say, hypothetically, that my theory is correct, right? That would mean that all of these, I don't want to say all, but a lot of these psychic mediums who, that have made several videos on this case. And now there's one in particular whose channel that I'm always at, and you guys will know who I'm talking about, who is, from what I've seen, never, came out and said direct things about it. Does that make sense? Probably not. But hypothetically, if my theory is correct, that would mean that, again, all these psychic mediums, not all of them, sorry, again, the majority of them, who are saying that Shanann, like, spoke to them literally, or on the ghost box or whatever, and I'm again, I'm not trying to be disrespectful to any other channel creators and what they're doing. Like, whatever they want to do, that's fine. But if my theory is correct, then who are these people that are coming through on these live streams that they're talking about, right? Because if they talk to the dead, right? And I'm not saying that I 100% believe in paranormal, because I've experienced it for myself. So I'm not by all means discrediting it. And one of my good friends, Shan, uses, she does spirit box and ghost box and paranormal stuff like that. So definitely not discrediting her at all whatsoever. But there are a lot of scam artists out there, right? Or people that just want to make some money. And they know that the Chris Watts case brings in views. I mean, how many of those, what are they called? There were so many of them, especially at the beginning. I don't know, just all the psychic mediums that were saying that the girls in Shanann had visited them and spoke to them, and saying that, to look into Nicole Kessinger, and they're saying that Shanann, like, those are the people I'm talking about. So that would mean that the majority of people on YouTube that are saying that they're speaking to these individuals from beyond, if my theory is correct, that would mean that they are essentially frauds, right? Who's going to want to hear that? No one's going to want to hear that. That's the psychic community is, as far as I know, pretty big, pretty popular. So, then you have the fact, like the main thing is, if by telling people my theory, they would have to again admit that they have literally been like duped 100%. And again, not a cover up, not just withholding information, like 100% made a fool of. And I can understand why they would, well, maybe not fully, because I just would never treat somebody like that just because they said something that I didn't agree with, or that I didn't, or that made me look like, pretty much an idiot. I mean, that's how you learn and grow, right? Like, fool me once, shame on you. Fool me twice, shame on me. I think that's how it goes. But learn from it. Like, say, like, why not just say, dang it, that sucks. Like, I can't believe that I spent 2 years researching this case, trying to figure out what happened to these people, right? These innocent lives that were taken. And I get that. I understand that. But I get attacked for it, right? And it's not just me. It's anybody that covers these cases and exposes these cases for what they really are. Scaramouche, please forgive me. I'm new here. Not sure what your theory is. In a nutshell, in a nutgate, just kidding. The entire Chris Watts homicide case was orchestrated to push multiple agendas onto the public. So obviously I got a little off track there, like I always do, but my point is that why is it okay for, like, why isn't it anybody, I mean, some people are getting, the people who are really, really asleep, right, who 100% believe they 100% believe the official narrative, right, those ones are like, oh, those are the people that are going to be almost impossible to break, right, or to make them see anything beyond the official narrative. But you're going to have those who attack people like, you guys for asking questions because nothing in the case adds up, right? But, so I've seen in chats where they'll say, leave Kessinger alone, and she didn't do anything, she didn't commit murder, whatever. But why is it okay for people to literally accuse people of murder without any, like, physical evidence to back that up? But and all I'm simply saying, or accusing, I guess I'm accusing people, All I'm saying is that they lied. I'm not, like I said, I'm not accusing anybody of murder, and yet, but that's how it works. I just don't. It's just crazy to me. I mean, I do understand it, but I just don't understand why it's okay for people to theorize about a murder case and potentially someone committing murder, but I'm not allowed to question just the fact that if it's even authentic in the first place. And although I don't have, like I said before, I don't have concrete evidence on paper, and that's what makes exposing these cases difficult for me, anyways. Again, there's other channels that have been doing this for years, and they're great at it. But for the most part, they're preaching to people that know about these events already, or that are somewhat already awake, right? Or that are open-minded. Compared to in the true crime community, where, the majority of you have told me that, again, you've never even heard of what a false flag or a PSYOP was, right? So, it's not as easy as what maybe they're doing over there in the other events. But no matter what, it's not easy. It's hard. So, do you guys have any questions? So I don't just like ramble on and they go, all she does is repeat herself and talk in circles. At least I don't say, can we circle back to that? Circle back. Oh yeah, whatever happened? I forgot about that channel. Where was that? Well, thank you for the donation, GTP and Swamp Lover and Chan and anybody else that I missed. And Monsters Inc. said there's definitely an evil presence or a portal inside of the Watts house, but and there very well could be. It doesn't mean that, and it doesn't mean that the house isn't haunted or whatever, or there's no that there isn't any spirits in there. I just don't believe that it's who we've been led to believe is in there, right? But sorry about that. So I think a lot has to do with why people believe, I mean, I don't know for a fact, but this is just my opinion, why people believe that, or some people believe that the house is haunted or paranormal or whatever, or has some sort of demonic whatever to it, is because of, you have Chris telling Cato allegedly that he was felt like someone took over him, right? That he was possessed almost, and then that's why he couldn't let go of Shanann, and that's why he killed her. Like he couldn't control what he was doing because somebody else was doing it. That leads into the whole predictive programming of American Horror Story, because and like I talked about in the Connections live stream and in my videos, in Murder House, the house literally makes people kill. So whoever lives there, whoever resides in that house, ends up murdering their family, right? Or dying from another family member, killing them, because the house was possessed and it made them commit murder. So again, it's like, what are the odds that here you have Chris allegedly telling Cadel that he felt like he was possessed or whatever, or Cadel was saying, in my opinion, it looked like, looking into his eyes, they turned all evil and black or whatever. It's just all a part of like the show. Not just American Horror Story, but the show, the Watts case, the show. So when you have people or someone like Cadel, going around from channel to channel and writing her nonsense in her book, if that's what you want to call it, about how Kessinger was into dark things, how she was doing seances, and she had all these crystals, and how, she felt like Chris really was evil, and he was possessed. And so you have all those factors and these individuals who are putting out this information, misinformation, disinformation, whatever theories. I don't know what you want to call it, but then everybody just goes, "Oh, did you hear what Cadel said? Cadel said that Chris's eyes turned black and they look demonic." And then that's where it just spreads like wildfire. Do you know what I mean? I did? Did I say the pew 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 word? When? Right now? Uh-oh, I'm just kidding. Tales from the Crypt was a good show. Oh, okay, here Stephanie Michelle said Midnight Midnight Mysteriologist. That's really hard to say. Channel was taken down because she noticed an interview with NK was dated August 10th. Dang it. I closed out of the chat. Okay, I'll have to confer to the other chat here. But okay, so I was in the middle of reading your comment, Stephanie. She noticed, are you talking about the Discovery document about her interview that was dated before the murders even happened, right? And yes, I do. I fully think that the Ruseks and the Watts are fully aware of what's going on and a part of it. Yes, I do. Without a doubt, 100%. Oh, okay, Alexis. I appreciate it. Yeah, I know. I forget sometimes, but and it's absolutely ridiculous. There's no reason why I myself or anybody else shouldn't be allowed to say certain words, common words. Hey, Gooba. You too. Hope you're having a good day as well. Dang Wi-Fi at the hotel, huh, Shan? Oh, because I said PSYOP. I thought you meant that I said GUN control. Give me a G. Give me a U. Give me an N. What's that spell? You're not allowed to say it. So stupid. Okay, let me look at your guys' or your comments here. Dang it, I was going to try and scroll up in the chat, and I guess I could do it on my phone, but it's easier when it's right in front of me. Okay, so I will keep looking at the chat to see if there's any more questions. And seriously, don't, not that you guys are, but if you don't be afraid to ask questions, and I can't promise that I will be able to answer it because I am on YouTube, but I'll do my best. I encourage you guys to ask me questions. So please, do not hesitate. And you're not gonna offend me. Like if you don't agree with what I'm saying, or if you can't, or not agree, but if you can't see what I'm saying, or if you have doubts or whatever, like I want to hear. I want to hear why you have doubts against or as far as what I'm saying. Monsters Inc. So what is the end game? Mass surveillance, tracking us all, we lose our minds obsessing over the truth? Yeah, all of the above. I mean, all of those are very, very possible. But each event, like I've said before, they're going to have multiple agendas. Especially the ones that are planned years in advance. And the bigger ones are going to have the multiple agendas. But money is one of the main ones that you're going to find in these events. So, cui bono, who benefits, or cui bono, potato. The other is they're usually done to take away some sort of rights, to pass a law or laws. Fear is another one. Control. Social experiment, to see how we react to certain things, what pulls at our heartstrings, what doesn't, to sway opinions of the public. Yeah, Callie, I believe it. It's our phones are always listening. I don't have my Bigsby. Oh, it's so stupid. Like I want to say, "Hey Bigsby," when I'm out in public. That's just like a stupid name. I don't know why they picked Bigsby, but I don't have like my Google Voice or anything turned on because of that reason, and I don't have Facebook on my phone either because of privacy concerns. So. So I mentioned Ole Dammegard earlier. in this live, and then I mentioned I have big feet. Wait, what? And ODD TV replays on my D Live that I encourage you guys to go watch. They both talk about the same thing that I've been telling you guys about, especially within the last few months, is the Hegelian dialectic, or often called problem, reaction, solution. They use it and have been using it, this method, for years. So let's say, okay, the government, wants to take something away from us, right? And now, this hypothetical is for the ones who know that our government is hey Grizz, is corrupt, that they are not always looking out for our best interest, and that they only care about themselves. So anybody who thinks otherwise is not going to want to hear this hypothetical. So if you're one of those people, then you might want to leave the stream. I don't know. I'm just kidding. It doesn't matter. But let's say you're the government and you want to take something away from the public. Whether it be free speech, whether it be pew pew pews, right? Second Amendment. They can't just come out and say, hey, we don't want you to have those things that protect you and your family, right? From harm in case of an intruder or whatever, right? We don't want you to have those. So we're the government and we're higher authority, so we think, and we're going to take those away from you. Okay? I mean, can you imagine if Biden or Trump or any politician came out and said, guess what? Today's Saturday and we decided that we're going to take all of your free speech away. Okay? That's it. That's all. That was the big news that we had for you, for the public, right? How do you think that the public's going to react to that? Do you think they're just going to say, oh, okay, Mr. President, Mr. Politician, Mr. Sleepy Joe, right? Do you think that they're just going to say, okay, sure, take away our Second Amendment and those things that we have to protect our family with and ourselves with, right? Sure, go ahead. Thank you for being upfront about it and just coming out and saying it, that you're going to take it. We appreciate that fully. Go ahead, here you go. And then you think they're just going to hand them over? No. The public would be outraged, right? So it wouldn't work that way. So what they use, again, is the Hegelian dialectic. And I talk about this in one of my videos as well. In order to take these things away from us, they have to trick us. So what they do is they create the problem. Whether it be a pew 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 on smaller individuals at a learning establishment, whether it be taking away all independent media, right, on social media, so that there's only mainstream news sources on there. So no independent media, no armchair detectives. I always have to say not one in particular, just in general. None of these truth channels that are going against it. So none of that. So whether it be the first thing, the pew pew pew, or taking away free speech, they're going to create a problem, and then we, the public, because it's so horrific, right? Because innocent people are, as we're being told, are losing, are dying, right? Or people on social media like the Ruseks and the Watts, they're being harassed, right? They're victims. They're being harassed. They're being sent death threats. And we can't have that, right? So what do? They try to take our free speech away so that we can't, so that these victims can't be harassed and sent death threats, even though there's no evidence to back that up. So they orchestrate these events and make them so horrific so that when they happen, people don't think logically. They just react with their emotions. And when people, are emotional, all logic goes out the window. So it doesn't matter. All that they know is we need to stop these innocent lives from being taken, right? Or these victims from being harassed on social media. Do something about it, government. So we turn to them and ask them to do something about these tragic events happening, not realizing that they were the ones who actually created the problem in the first place. And then, boom, here comes your solution, which is taking away our Second Amendment and taking away our free speech, whatever amendment that is. I don't know which one it is. Does that make sense? Exactly, Stephanie Michelle. Yeah, Shanann's Law. Yeah, I was pretty worried there for a little bit. I'm not gonna lie, when I saw them pushing that. And and a lot of people, they don't realize that, like, when after these shootings happen and stuff, they think that by demanding that our rights be taken away, they think that they believe that they're really doing something beneficial for society, but in reality, they're actually doing more harm. So they actually think, sorry about that. So they actually think that they're doing they think that they're doing something good, but and again they're only making things so much worse. And it's brilliant, this Hegelian dialectic, because people don't even realize that what's happening until it's like too late. And so a little bit over time, because again, they can't just come out and say, we're going to take all your pew pew pews away. So we have many of these pew 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 events, right? And then what comes immediately after them? What was Vegas? Banned bump stocks. What was the Nova Scotia shooting? ban AKs. What was... Oh, I said shooting. Son of a... Okay, what do my moderators bleep that out for me? I'm just kidding. That would be kind of cool, though. What if the moderators had like a little like beep button? So like every time I said something that I shouldn't, even though I should be able to, I just go boop. Or like with the SpongeBob like dolphin. Like, I'm not going to try and do it right now, but... But so you'll notice after all of these tragic events, immediately afterwards, they're pushing for something to be taken away from us. Yeah, right. High hopes, exactly. You really think we went to the moon and called the White House, but your cell phone will drop service in the woods? Yeah, Shan can't even get freaking service in her hotel. But, yeah. But the astronauts talked to the president from the moon. Wow. But they're NASA and the government, so they probably have way better technology than we do. I mean, I bet you their 5G towers are amazing. Not. So I did write a couple things down because I started when I'm listening to live streams. I started to write down things that were mentioned in other streams. Because before I said, "Oh, I'll remember. I won't forget," and then of course I did. So now I started to write them down this time. Wait, are you talking to me, High Hopes, or someone in the chat? SpongeBob is real, Mark? He very well could be. I'm not saying he's not. Did you know that he's ambidextrous too? I didn't even know what ambidextrous was until I watched SpongeBob. So if they say that you can't learn anything from cartoons, that's not true. Actually, that's a really good episode. It's funny. Space Baby, The Final Frontier, but it's made in a Hollywood basement. Yep. Red Hot Chili Peppers. Is it Red Hot Chili Peppers? Yeah. The Sponge Man. I don't want to be a Barnacle Boy. I want to be a Barnacle Man. So let me see. Let me refer to my notes here. Oops, that's not my notes. And a few of these there's not that many on here, but a few of these I have probably mentioned before. And again, if I'm repetitive, it's because I have to be, because I'm not going to change my theory ever. I never have, and I never will. So if I sound repetitive, even though I shouldn't have to like justify myself right now, but if I sound repetitive, it's for a good reason. And because I don't have several different theories on what happened with this case, which is fine, but I'm just saying I don't want to hear people complain that I'm repetitive. Because, again, I will continue to do this as long as it takes and repeat myself and talk about these red flags and these characteristics and these other events. And I will make you guys go to DLive. I will. You guys think I'm all nice and everything and whatnot, but just you wait. I'm just kidding, but I demand that you please go to DLive and watch these replays or these streams over there. See? You can demand stuff and still be nice about it, right? Okay, so how many times have we heard people say that nobody died in the house, right? For a while now. Dogs didn't pick up on a scent. The dog handlers didn't even seem like they knew what they were doing. Like she was leading the dog when the dog's supposed to lead her. If the narrative says that Shanann died in the house, why didn't the dogs pick up on that scent? Why didn't the dogs pick up on the ground? Because we know that Kristen carried Shanann over his shoulder. To the truck, right? So if he dragged her, the dogs would have, as far as I know, would have picked up on that scent. So why do you guys think that the dogs didn't pick up on a scent? It's not because, well, yeah, nobody died in the house, correct. But it's not because they died anywhere else, right? You guys get where, because this is, the sentence that I want to say next is very, very important, but I can't say it. I literally cannot, and people will say, oh, you're just being ridiculous, you're over-exaggerating, just say what you gotta say, Megan, and stop beating around the bush. No, I literally can't. Unless they're gonna go and find all my subscribers back for me, right? Not I mean, it's only like 2,000 something, but that's 2 years worth, right? And they're important to me. You guys are important to me. If those people are saying, oh, just say it, and I lose my channel, I highly doubt that they're gonna make it up to me. I mean, all they literally have to do is go and look in the community guidelines, and it will say in the community guidelines. And Google doesn't lie, right? YouTube doesn't lie. So if they don't believe me, go look in their guidelines. It literally says you're not allowed to question the authenticity of a tragic event, even though it has many, many holes in its narrative. Thank you. I hope so. She's like, I got you. Appreciate it. Yes. So that's why people started to realize, and you guys started to realize over time, you started noticing all of these inconsistencies in the discovery, right? And which makes sense. It makes 100% sense that you guys would notice these inconsistencies. Because that's what happens with these orchestrated events. They're going to have so many holes, so much missing information, and no event is going to be 100% perfect, right? There's going to be errors. There's going to be mistakes. That's just inevitable. No matter how long in advance you plan it. So when I see and hear people saying how nobody died in the house, it's almost like it's just supporting my theory even more. Do you see what I'm saying? Or how they'll say, the whole thing where Chris didn't have enough time to go to murder his family, drive to Survey, and then potentially, I guess, murder them. The rest of them, or not the rest of them, sorry, that sounded bad. Kill Shanann in the house and then Cece and Bella being alive, and then he did it there. He didn't have time to do all that, right? And then he didn't have time to dig the hole, and then text Kessinger the whole time and his coworkers, and then drive back to the house without a speck of dirt on the guy. The guy looked like he got 8 hours of sleep the night before. I mean, you kidding me? The guy's supposed to just committed killing his entire family, and he looks like all, hey, Mr. Officer, nice to meet you. I mean, we're talking about a guy that was planning for at least a couple days in advance the murder of his family. And I don't care how much like of a narcissist you are or whatever. I mean, I'm sure there's some probably serial killers that just slept the night before and just was like ate their pancakes and orange juice and said, okay, now I'm going to go kill my family. Like, that's very possible. But, you know, he was, from what the narrative says, right, that he was up the night before, 111-minute phone call with Kessinger, and then he was cleaning a bunch, and then, or whatever, and, I mean, killing his entire family, right? Moving the bodies, which is very, very difficult to do. I don't care what anybody says. Dead weight is not easy to move multiple distances, and it's especially difficult to lift multiple times. Take in, take out, put in, put out. So what I think happened is when I, like I just mentioned, with how no event is going to be 100% perfect, and mistakes are going to happen, and then you're gonna run into different obstacles, like, for instance, the weather, right? So Shanann was in Arizona, and I can confirm that. That's something I can confirm because obviously I live here, or in Arizona, and I remember that night specifically, even though I didn't, obviously I didn't know about the case. I didn't know it till December, but I remember every day that it rains here pretty much because it hardly ever rains here. So I was outside photographing the lightning, so I can confirm for a fact that there was weather. Now, can I confirm 100% that we had blackouts? My power didn't go out, so as far as Scottsdale goes, I don't know. But the weather I can confirm. So that's something that they unfortunately ran into. But then again, they do have weather modification and stuff like that. So they could very well have... Okay, that's getting conspiratorial. But they ran into that weather issue, which delayed Shanann's flight, which screwed up their whole narrative, right? So they lost, 2 hours? An hour or two? Which is why people are saying that Chris didn't have enough time to do everything that he did, that the narrative says he did in that amount of time. But there's nothing they can do about that. They can just either try to fix it or just hope that nobody notices. And even if they notice, they don't have to answer those questions for us. Hey, Absurdity 523. Thanks for following. Fake lightning. Mark, everything is not fake. Gosh. Seriously. I mean, come on. Jeez, Mark over here is like, fake Teddy, fake Megan, fake lightning, fake pizza. People give me a hard time. I just said one thing was not real, not everything, Mark. Gosh. Get a grip. Just kidding. You don't remember power ever going out when you lived in Arizona? It happens. It happens for sure, especially during like monsoon season. But but yeah, so that's another one of those things. Like, so when I hear when I hear those things, I'm like, it's like, you guys are pretty much just like, not you guys, but those theories are, in my opinion, support my theory even more. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know. I wonder if they have like, do they have like ghost speakers? You know, they have like ghost writers for authors. Like, I wonder if I could get like an interpreter for my live stream so that when I'm trying to explain something to you guys, like that makes sense in my head 100%. But since I'm a horrible speaker, I wonder if they have those. I wonder if I could find it online, find one online, like a ghost speaker. That's a good idea. I wonder if they do have them. Anyway, not like a interpreter. It's kind of like an interpreter, but I don't know. I'll have to look into that. I'm just kidding. Okay, next. Okay, so another something else that was brought up in a live stream was how they don't understand why law enforcement or Rourke has not come out and cleared everything up for us, right? Why doesn't Rourke just come out and say, look, this is why this doesn't make sense. This is that. There's no investigation going on, even though Baumhofer did say that in his blog, whatever. That was interesting. I forgot about that. I'll have to cover that one time on live stream. But so they say, I don't understand why doesn't Rourke just come out and clear things up for the public? Why doesn't he just clear it up so that we can move on, and so that they don't look like, they didn't know what they're doing as well. Why won't they do that? Because they don't have to. Because they're legally allowed to lie and push propaganda onto the public. And we are not allowed to we have no right to get angry about it. Because of that Smith Modernization Act of 2012. So even though they were pushing propaganda and the mainstream media and the government and lying to us way before 2012, now they can just do it legally and we can't get mad. And that means orchestrating an entire homicide case. And a lot of people think there's no way that's possible. That's so ridiculous, Megan. How can why would they do something like that? That just doesn't make any sense. Like, and how disrespectful of you to say that. I mean, there's victims. Do you know the victims? Have you met Shanann personally? Do you know the Ruseks or the Watts personally? I mean, like, not met them through the case. I mean, but do you know them personally? Were you Because until then, I don't want to hear it. I really don't. And again, just because you're a victim, it doesn't make you a saint or a good person. It just unfortunately makes you a victim. So the fact that there's so many people that are like advocating for, and I get it, I get it. Like, people are think they're doing the right thing by protecting individuals who went through something tragic, right, or traumatic. But they don't even bother to think about all the red flags in this case, and why the Ruseks are behaving the way they are or do, and why the Watts are doing the same thing. And yet you have people, I'm pro Watts, I'm pro Ruseks, and the Watts are hateful scum, and the Ruseks are hateful scum. It's like, what are you guys doing? Like, you are fighting literally over two families that you don't have any idea who they are. No idea who these people are, except for what the mainstream media has told us, law enforcement, and what the Ruseks and the Watts themselves, or any other false information or whatever disinformation that spread like wildfire about these families, right? But that's what they do. They pull the whole victim thing. And that's why the Ruseks are going, we're victims, we're getting death threats, poor us. We can't even, we try to stay off social media, but we people keep sending us messages. Oh, okay, so instead of continuing to try to stay off social media, you go and actually engage on purpose in social media, and not only that, but you become moderators of social media channels. That makes absolutely zero sense, Ruseks. Zero. But that's what they do. That's the psychology of it. They play the victim card so that when someone like myself or anybody else tries to question anything about the case or what they're saying, how dare you? They're victims. What kind of person are you to question a victim's morals or what they're doing? Because they're victims. Victim schmictum. I'm sorry, that sounds mean, but it's not. Because you're not going to find me saying this about any other victims where they don't have this erratic behavior and they're not causing division and chaos on social media and or to actual real victims. You're not going to see me doing this or doing that to them. I'm questioning victims in a case that has, again, many red flags that doesn't freaking add up. But a lot of people don't realize that. It's just tunnel vision and they're victims. How dare you? Yet they have no idea whatsoever who those people are. And to go way back to the beginning of this live, when I originally brought up the difficulty with my theory, because one of you mentioned in the chat about certain individuals accusing Real Justice, I think. Oh, dang it. I said it once. Nobody else say it 2 more times because he might show up. Just kidding. It's like Beetlejuice. I don't want to risk that. Just kidding. But there's certain individuals that are questioning Nicole Atkinson's inconsistencies in her statements and in the discovery, and in my opinion, they have every right to do that. Now, is there a certain way that I think that you could go about doing that? I think there's better ways. But again, with my theory, it's very, very, very difficult because unfortunately, whether or not we've been told that Nicole Atkinson was a hero and a wonderful friend to Shanann, when I hear somebody who's supposed to, like, you know, Thrive Trips, has the password to her lock on her door to her house, always, you know, hundreds of pictures with them, saying how Nicole Atkinson saying how she lost her best friend. But when I hear on the 911 call, the operator, 911 operator, asks Nicole Atkinson information about Shanann and says, "Oh, what's her birthday?" And Nicole Atkinson says, "Oh, shoot. See, if you wouldn't have asked me that, I would have known." Wait. Can we circle back to that for a second? What? You don't know your best friend's birthday? And now, granted, people will say, well, she was just really scared and she was nervous. And, you know, I've heard people say, I don't even know my best friend's birthday. Well, I'm like, well, that's pretty bad if you don't know your best friend's birthday. But let's, you know, give her the benefit of the doubt, right? Maybe she was just nervous, or maybe she was scared for Shanann because she was missing, right? Or she thought something had happened to her. Okay, I'll give that to her. But then the 911 operator asks her, well, okay, that's fine if you don't, if that's okay. How old is she? Nicole Atkinson replies and says, I don't know. She's like in like late 20s, early 30s. Wait. Can we circle back to that again? Because, we're led to believe that this Nicole Atkinson, this woman, is Shanann's best friend. She didn't even know if what age frame or whatever she was in, right? She late 20s, early 30s. Like, I mean, I'm already giving her a pass on the birth date thing, but you don't know your best friend, her age, and not even in like with a couple of years. To me, that is a huge red flag. And I'm very surprised that they kept that on the body cam. I mean, on the 911 call. But they know, right? It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter that Nicole Atkinson didn't know Shanann's age. Because they know that if someone like myself or anybody else brings it up or calls her out on it, how dare you? How dare you? Because she's a hero. She was so worried about her friend, and here you are accusing her of not even knowing, and saying that she's not really her best friend. What kind of person are you to do that? You know, she's sick, and she's just an innocent victim in this, and she lost her best friend. How dare you? They know that they don't have to fix that error that Nicole Atkinson made because, again, people like myself and others that bring it up and question it are going to get attacked. Or the ones that do notice it will not bring it up for fear of also being attacked. Right? But I'm sorry, I already gave her the pass on the one, but if you don't even know her age or whether she's in her 30s or 20s or 30s, yeah, no, sorry, nope. Something's up with that. So it's hard to tell, you know, which ones are, and I spoke about this on one of my live streams when I went over the anatomy of these events. Which ones are the different victim types that you have, right? The willing, the knowing willing, the unknowing unwilling, you know, the different types. But your main characters are more than likely going to be one of those willing, knowing and willing individuals. So, do I think that Nicole Atkinson had anything to do, based on the official narrative, with the murders? No. Do I think her son did? No. Do I think that she had any role in it? I mean, no. Do I think that a lot of her statements don't add up and draw red flags? Absolutely. So, as much as people don't like Lana or KK or anybody else, they're right for bringing up those inconsistencies about Nicole Atkinson. Doesn't mean I agree with their approach or accusing Shanann of killing the girls or Nicole Atkinson having anything to do with it or her son. I'm just simply saying, hey, I think that they were part of the orchestration. Now, whether for whatever reason why they chose or agreed to do it or be a part of it or didn't agree to willingly be a part of it, I don't know. I don't know why people do or choose to do certain things that are, I mean, essentially immoral, right? Because that they lied to us, you guys. They 100% flat out orchestrated an event, lied to us to push multiple agendas. So I can't, 100% sit there and say that I know for a fact that Nicole Atkinson knew 100% everything that was going on and she was completely a part of it. But I just know that this case is orchestrated, and it's irrelevant who. I guess it's not really irrelevant, but it's not as important. Like why the people involved did what they did is not important. As important as the case being orchestrated. Yeah, Stephanie Michelle, fact, NA is Sandy's friend, not Shanann Watts. Based on, and that's the problem. And I'm glad you brought that up, Stephanie, because I'll talk about my theory a lot, and then there'll be times where, and that's why I can't go up on panel, or it's difficult for me when somebody else is up there, not because I want like the full attention and all on me, but they'll say, hey, Megan, what do you think about this? Or what do you think about this in the narrative? Or why do you think that, or what do you think about Nutgate? Do you think that really happened? Or, all these questions about the official narrative, but I can't answer those questions, and I don't need to answer those questions because I personally know that it's take two. The discovery is it's not factual. It's not evidence. You're talking about a fabricated event. See what I'm saying? So I don't care what, I don't care what the narrative tells me. I don't care what Sandy says. I don't care, what anyone says about the narrative, because I know it's 100% bullshit. Sorry. Call me a terrible person, whatever. We're getting close to 3 years, and we're not going to get anywhere if I keep worrying about hurting other people's feelings, unfortunately, or upsetting people. So, I mean, we're essentially trying to solve a homicide case that's not I can't say that word, that was planned. You see what I'm saying? Hey, Easy Money. Thank you for the donation. I mean, and I really wish that, and I don't know if I'm doing something wrong. I don't know if my views or my videos are being suppressed or whatever, but I don't know how many times I've seen in comments, especially on the bigger channels that have more views, that pointed out the fetus and the hourglass in the American Horror Story on Nate's TV. Comment after comment after comment saying, "Oh my God, the similarities are uncanny. This is crazy. How could it practically mirror the Watts narrative in that American Horror Story teaser?" I mean, people are so shocked by that, and yet they have no idea how much bigger it is. I mean, if they're shocked just based on just the teaser, you can only imagine if, more people saw my American Horror Story connections, because it's such a big part. The predictive programming is such a big part of this case, and doesn't matter what your theory is. It doesn't matter if you 100% believe the official narrative. It doesn't matter if you can, if you believe it's orchestrated. It doesn't matter if you think it was a cover-up. What matters is that this predictive programming and these connections, in my opinion, it proves that somebody, or more than somebody, right, or multiple people, knew way in advance that this event or these murders were going to happen. And that in itself should infuriate anybody. Do you know what I mean? It's not... There's no way coincidental with the amount of connections, the amount of similarities, and how exact they are for them to be coincidental. Again, how many does it have to be until, or to show that it's not a coincidence anymore? I mean, what is it going to take for anyone to see that? Do you know what I mean? Like, I don't know. I'm trying, but I don't know how much more I can give you guys. And I know that we're talking about 2 years, right? 2 years of believing a narrative, and I completely understand that. But I mean, what is, I want to know in the chat, what is your explanation? Never mind what I've told you guys, right? What do you think, how is all those connections, how is all those connections possible? Oh my gosh. Can we start over? I'm just kidding. Oh my God, that'd be terrible. I'm going to end this. We'll start over again, guys. Oh, okay, we got to go. I want to hear from you guys in the chat your opinion on these connections that I've found. I don't think it, I mean, I know you guys comment and stuff, but I want to hear what your explanation for it is. if not, you know, based on my theory. See what I'm saying? See what I'm saying? I keep saying that now. That's going to be the new thing. You see what I'm saying? Yes, that's why I like to be on DLive. Exactly, Kelly. And I need someone to explain to me why this is the only case that where all this information was released, or explain to me why no one's personal information was redacted, or tell me why nothing in this case makes sense, or why people can't seem to get away. Because as far as I know, I'm the only one that's providing some sort of answers for all of these questions that people have been asking and that you guys have been asking for over 2 years now. And even the problem is, even if let's say there's a channel creator or certain channel creators that knew what was going on, do you think they're really going to come out and say, hey, Megan, you're right about everything? So what, you know, no need to talk about the case anymore. You're 100% right, Megan. So moving on. Do you think that they're really going to, I mean, honestly, do you think they're going to agree with me even if they knew I was right? No. Because the Watts case brings in money, you guys. Okay, Google. Thank you for hanging out. I know my lives are so long. Sorry. Thank you for being here. And I didn't. It took me a while to like realize that, I think, because, and I think it was Jenny May or but they're like, do you think, even if they agreed with you, Meg, do you think that they're really gonna say that? No, they're not gonna say that, because then what content would they have, right? They're not gonna want to potentially give up getting more subscribers or memberships, right? I bet you have the channel creators that, and yes, have new people started following the case because of Netflix and stuff, but they're going over the same body cam footage, the same interviews over and over and over again. And where is it getting us? Nowhere. It's just like, it just never ends. And it's like, again, beating a dead horse. And again, no YouTube, no animals were harmed during this live stream. You know, gotta say it just in case. Exactly, Jade, because they'll lose their money. Because we know, you can see it in their viewer count during the live streams. They cover one case, they don't get nearly as many people in their live streams as they do when they're covering the Watts case. So they're going to like milk this case for everything that it has, because it brings in money. But that's not what I'm here for. I'm not trying to milk this case for everything it has. I would like to move on to other cases, but I need to cover this case before I just throw a bunch of more cases at you guys. Hey, Holly. Good to see you. Thanks for subbing. I think I saw you in poker too. And I was gonna say hi, but I didn't want to like distract you. Be like, hey, it's Think from DLive. Stalker over here. I'm like, okay, get away, crazy. Hey, Gio. And I understand that everyone's dedicated and want to find justice and want to figure out why, nothing adds up. But it's never going to happen. And I'm not going to sit here and tell you, hey, I think that the case is still being, or someone's still being investigated, or I think that they're doing that there's still an open investigation, or that they're looking into somebody else, or that Chris didn't share his Snickers bar with another inmate, so he got spray painted. I don't know, but like it's sorry, and maybe that's why my view count is going down on my live streams. I don't know. I don't understand it. It's frustrating because I know there's people on YouTube. So maybe it's because I'm not telling everyone what they want to hear. But again, that's not what I'm here for. I'm not here for the views. I'm not here for the, it would be great. Of course, I would love to have 600 people in my live streams, because that would be, how many people are in my chat now? Whatever, minus whoever's in, you guys in my DLive and you guys in my YouTube stream right now, minus that from 600. If I had that many more people in my live streams, that means that's that many more people that I can try to wake up to show the truth about this case. So, when I say that I don't care about the views, that I didn't mean that, of course. But, because the more people listening, the better chance I have of waking people up. It's too bad that truth doesn't spread like wildfire, man. That'd be so easy. But nope. Only thing that spreads like wildfire is disinformation and rumors. So, it's unfortunate. But, yeah, so I'm not going to just tell you guys and sugarcoat anything or tell you guys what you want to hear. Of course I want Nicole Kessinger to be interrogated again, or to be investigated properly, and to be given a polygraph test, right? I want that just as much as anybody else that believes that she, wasn't properly investigated. Of course I do. But I know that that's not possible, because it's not going to happen. Because there's no investigating to be done. Do you see what I'm saying? And I wouldn't have to say, do you see what I'm saying, on DLive? So here's my DLive pitch. Follow me on DLive, everybody. I think the description, though, to my link on DLive, or to my channel, is in the description. But yes, of course, I want, of course, Kessinger to have to answer for certain things and to be held accountable, but not because I believe that she helped in murdering a family, or that she is a skanky whatever for sleeping with a married man, right? Or whatever hatred people have towards her. my hate, I don't have hatred, I don't have any bias in this case, and that's why I'm able to see this case for what it really is. And because my emotions are not getting in my way of this case. It's not because I'm heartless or I don't care about murder victims or because I'm just a piece of shit. It's because I know that they're full of shit. The ones in control of this narrative. So I don't have that tunnel vision of, justice needs to be done for these victims and or Kessinger or whoever or Jim needs to be held accountable for possibly having their hand in helping with murders. But I know that she's never going to be held accountable for any of the things that she lied about because they're all in on it, you guys. Law enforcement, Kessinger, they're all in on it. That's why she wasn't investigated. That's why the Ruseks are not trying to go after Anadarko for not properly having security around their oil tanks. Right? Because any real actual family would be demanding why their loved ones are not with them any longer. What do you mean that the girls were actually not dead when they left the house? Because you, Roark, you told us that they were all deceased when Chris left the house. And now you're going to turn around and say, no, that you were wrong, that the girls may have been alive, and you're still not even sure? I'd actually like somebody else. I would like you to step down and have a different district attorney or somebody else investigating this case of the deaths of my loved ones. Because you obviously, Roark, do not seem to know what's going on in your own case, in your own investigation. I mean, you told me that they were all deceased, and now you're going to turn around and say, but then the Ruseks have no problem with that? And people will say, it doesn't matter, Megan. It doesn't matter whether they... Hell yeah, it does. And you're going to tell me that we're all freaking crazy on social media in the true crime community, and that we're just making this shit up about all the red flags in this case and the inconsistencies, but yet the Ruseks are just 100% certain that law enforcement did an amazing job on the case, and that and that everything adds up, that the official narrative is 100% true. I call bullshit on that. The reason why they are not demanding answers from Roark, why they are going out of their way to have a social media channel and try to convince us that law enforcement did a fantastic job on the case, and try to convince us that nobody else was involved, even though they just got done saying on Dr. Phil that, kind of hinting that they believe that Kessinger was more involved. They're just trying to confuse people. First, Dr. Phil was, oh yeah, and then she deleted her messages, and she said, can cops trace text messages? So making us believe one thing on Dr. Phil, and then turning around a couple months later and saying, look, Nicole Kessinger is not involved. Stop talking about it. Chris is where he needs to be. He's the one that committed all the murders. There's nobody else. And law enforcement did everything that they're just fantastic job. Even though, Roark told us one thing, that the girls in Shannon were all dead. And then later we find out that they weren't. But yeah, that inconsistency, who cares? The Ruseks are not demanding answers, you guys, because it's fabricated. I don't know about you guys. I can't speak for everybody, but if that was my family, those were my granddaughters, and my daughter, and my grandson, you better bet that Rourke was going to be harassed by me and many others until I find more answers about what happened to my family. Or demanding answers from Anadarko. Or, you know, filing lawsuits for not properly, like I said, making sure that something like that wouldn't be possible on their property or on their leased property. But they're not. And that just was brought up in a live stream a few days ago. I don't understand why the Ruseks aren't demanding answers. Why aren't the Ruseks doing what all, you know, thousands of people on social media are doing? Here we're all trying to figure out what happened to Shanann and everybody and get justice for the victims. The Ruseks aren't even doing that for their own family. I mean, as far as we know, maybe they are, but I doubt it if they're trying to convince us that law enforcement did everything they could and they did an outstanding job. Like, really, Ruseks? You want us to believe that official narrative is 100% factual? And you have no doubts of law enforcement? But they have many people convinced. Not me. I'm not convinced one bit. And that's why I don't believe that it was a sacrifice. Now, and can there be, you know, see, I can't even say it. It's so freaking annoying. The opposite is possible. And I did think about that. But with everything that I just mentioned, it doesn't add up. Because if it was a sacrifice, then again, okay, good night, Callie. Thank you for staying up for me. I appreciate it. Sleep well. Because if that were the case, the Ruseks would not be on social media causing division, in my opinion, causing chaos, getting people to fight, nutgate this, nutgate that, Ruseks suck, Watts suck, this family's better, that family's better, moderating for channels, mocking people that they have no idea whether or not they've been victims of something in their life, right? And then try to claim that they're victims. It's pretty hypocritical. So in my opinion, they would not be on social media. They would be at Rourke's door for the past 2 years. Trying to figure out the answers that we're all trying to figure out. Why is everybody fighting for this family, for their loved ones, right? For Shanann and Nico, when they're not even doing it themselves? To me, that's very telling. And the more they play the victim card, the harder and more difficult it is for me. I mean, they literally have people lashing out at other people for simply supporting one family over the other. It's so petty, and it's so unnecessary, and it's one of those things. One of the things that pisses me off about this case and these events is because here you have so many good people, right, in this case, that are really, really trying to find out what happened to this family, because they do care, because they do have morals, and you know, are caring people, right? And again, for over like 2 years now, and these other cases as well, but it's one of those things that really bothers me, because there's so many other and in real victims or not, like, what about all the others? What about those lives? Why is one or 4 lives more important than to advocate for or whatever than others, right? See what I'm saying? It's gonna be that. It's gonna be the saying. See what I'm saying? But I'm not trying to say that Shanann and Nico and Bella and Cece are not worth that, but it's the fact that I know the truth about this case, and I can say that, and it's my channel, so I don't have to say in my opinion. But knowing the truth about this case and seeing how much time is spent on this case, it breaks my heart for the other ones that see, I have multiple hearts. Beat that. No. It breaks my heart knowing that these other, and I'm sure that people are advocating for them, but just that so many people are dedicating so much time to this one case, and I feel like so many others that are that truly deserve to be advocated for are not. So that really pisses me off. I don't know, but it's just I don't know what word to use for it. Like, again, if I was on DLive, I could just say what I want to say, but I can't. So, but before I end this, if and when, or when and if you do, or eventually, you know, see this case for what it really is, and not because I told you, right? Not because I'm saying, or I sound convincing, which I'm sure I never do, but I don't want to sound convincing. I don't want to be like dramatic. I just want to tell you what I've learned over the years, or show you what I've learned over the years, and from research and from others, and give you that information, and what you do with it is on you. But if that does happen and you are able to see this case for what it really is, everything is going to make so much sense. Like, it's going to be like, if that happens, it's going to be a weight lifted off your shoulder. You're going to be like, holy shit. Like, no wonder nothing made sense in this case, right? And then once you, and if that does happen, you'll be able to spot, because they're not going to slow down with these events, and you'll be able to spot them very, very easily. Because although they are like very well put together, they're also very sloppy at the same time. And I hope that one day their symbolism will be their downfall, because they do put it all in plain sight for us to see. And you just have to be aware of it. And it's so easy to spot, you guys. And it's laughable at times how in our face it is, but yet the majority of people have no idea that they're literally being mocked by these individuals or groups of people that claim to have our best interests out for us, or looking out for our best interests. And some of you may never be able to see everything in its entirety. And that's okay. But as long as, it's cheesy, but as long as you think for yourself and do research, and at least realize that there's more to things than meets the eye, right? And things can be very, very deceiving, and very easily deceiving, with just little tricks here and there. So as long as that happens, then I'm happy with that. As long as or at least if you guys leave with something. Or at least, hey, you'll be like, well, I didn't know a lick about chickens, and Megan has chickens, and at least I have some chicken knowledge now, right? From watching and listening to her for over 2.5 years. So even if that's the case, then great. Then I taught you something. So, but yeah, I'm gonna end this. I gotta make dinner now and stuff. But thank you guys so much. Again, don't believe anyone. Think for yourself. Do your own research. Thanks, everybody. Bye.